Was not about to hand over the party reins without a challenge when he addressed the Parliamentary Gallery Association in Cape Town. With the party only expected to officially open the nominations process for party leader at the end of this month, Steenhuisen said at the time that it would be improper to openly declare his intentions. He now appears to have had second thoughts amid turmoil within the party that has put him under investigation by the DA's Federal Legal Commission. Although cleared of allegations made by the party's former finance chairperson Dion George that Steenhuisen allegedly abused party funds for personal use, he's still facing disciplinary action for bringing the party into disrepute over this public fallout. Should Steenhuisen follow through with the announcement tomorrow, it could pave the way for Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis to throw his hat in the ring. Hill-Lewis has repeatedly said that he would not vie for leadership if he had to compete against Steenhuisen. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Proceedings are continuing at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry after an application to postpone the testimony of a secret witness was denied. This morning, the attorney representing witness F submitted an application for a postponement pending the outcome of an urgent High Court application filed earlier today. Attorney Hartley Ngwato claims that certain WhatsApp chats, which the Commission is relying on as evidence, implicate his client and are driving a certain narrative without context. However, Commission Chair Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga cautioned that there are criminal implications under the Commission's Act if the witness refuses to answer questions and may be setting a certain precedent for other witnesses to follow. Madlanga refused the application and made the following order.
1. The application for a postponement is refused. 2. The evidence leaders are granted leave to present as evidence the WhatsApp chats that relate to witness F and, when necessary, to comment on them.
Madlanga elaborates.
3. Witness F is ordered to remain at the remote location from which he is supposed to testify until he is excused by the Commission.
The DA's Joburg mayoral candidate Helen Zille says the state of downtown Joburg needs urgent attention following a wall collapse in Doornfontein. 4 people were injured during a gas explosion at a student residence yesterday. It's understood there may have been a gas leak on site before the transformer tripped in response to the explosion. City Power has since isolated the power supply to the building affected and nearby premises in an effort to restore power supply in phases to the residents in the area. Zille says her visit to the affected building yesterday was not an election ploy ahead of the upcoming local polls, but a genuine attempt to identify challenges that need to be addressed.
But the whole point is to go to the crisis spots in Joburg, to see for myself what's going on, to take in what the problems are, to investigate deeply so that we can come to some kind of understanding of what it's going to take to fix Joburg. That's what it's all about.
Joburg MMC for Public Safety Mnguni Chwaku says political parties need to put service delivery ahead of their own agendas.
Because now they just came here to do some politics, which what they do, by the way, not many political parties. They don't get to the bottom of it. So you're going to see this thing. We're actually you're used to it. But I'm just saying that Umagogo must start there first in the Western Cape, to fix the city of Cape Town before Azela, as Papala.
And former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, have agreed to testify in the congressional investigation into the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. According to the BBC, it comes days before a vote on whether to hold the couple in criminal contempt for refusing to appear before the House Oversight Committee after a months-long standoff. Bill Clinton was acquainted with Epstein, who died in prison in 2019, but has denied knowledge of his sex offending and says he cut off contact 2 days ago. It's unclear when the depositions will take place, but it will be the first time a former U.S. president has testified to a congressional panel since Gerald Ford did so in 1983. The Clintons had long resisted a demand to appear before the committee, saying they had already given sworn statements representing the limited information they had on Epstein. They had also dismissed the legal summonses issued by the committee as nothing more than a ploy to attempt to embarrass political rivals, as President Donald Trump has directed. Gold's trading at $4,820.29 an ounce. The rand's at 16.05 to the dollar, at 21.91 to the pound, at 18.91 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $66.32 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Fairland, we've got an accident reported on the N1 South that happened near 14th Avenue. It's causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of Beyers-Naudé Drive. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 North. This is as you head towards the city of Tshwane via Midrand. An earlier accident is causing these delays, as well as roadworks coming out of Allendale Road.
A look at your weather. A partly cloudy Tuesday in Gauteng this afternoon with thunder showers expected. Temperatures are peaking at highs between 27 and 30 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour, DA leader John Steenhuisen is expected to bow out of the party's leadership race ahead of its National Elective Congress in April.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Calling all the brightest minds in Gauteng. Time to flex your general knowledge smarts in the brain of 702. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Good afternoon and welcome to 702 Afternoons. I'm Khomotsa Modise in for Relebogile Mabotja this afternoon. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is the 3rd of February 2026. And thank you for choosing us. I hope you're having a lovely afternoon. It is 8 minutes past 1. That means it's time for 702 Afternoons. I'm with you between now and 3 p.m. Coming up on the show, I want to talk about dating married people and a child being born out of that. Is it fair to expect that the child is accepted as part of the married partner's family? Oftentimes a spouse, and it's often the father, steps out of a relationship and has a child. Months, sometimes years, many a time it's after his death that the child resurfaces. And what was done in the shadows of darkness and secrecy is brought into light. Is it fair, as the woman who knowingly had a relationship with a married man, to expect your child to be accepted as part of the family? I want to hear from you. I know it can be a tricky one, and maybe some of you might want to maintain your anonymity as you get in touch and tell us your story. The number to dial is 011 883 0702. We'll then move on to our tech feature, and today we speak to Ubonagetse Padako, founder of the Service Hub. It's a mobile app that connects everyday people with trusted service providers. And then just after 2, we begin our series on gun power. It's a series for the month of February. Firearms are a part of South Africa's reality, whether through private ownership, security, or crime. But what's always missing from the conversation is education, particularly around safety when it comes to firearms. So we'll talk to Themba Kupega, who's a South African security operator and firearm safety advocate on that. If you own a firearm or considering owning a firearm, know someone who has, come from a home that has someone who owns a firearm, get in touch with us for that conversation. Then we wrap up the show with our car feature. Our technical expert, Nicole Lowe, will kick off the conversation with a chat about the aircon system in your car and everything you need to know about that. Then, of course, we'll take all your questions, your technical questions about your car. That's the show this afternoon. This is 702 Afternoons, and studio with me is our technical producer, Abele, and the lovely Pachida is taking your calls. And then we'll have Amoramela, who's on the traffic, and Maki Molapo has the news. That's the show today. To be part of the conversation, get in touch with us, 011 883 0702, and the WhatsApp line is 072 702 1702. Alternatively, if you'd rather get in touch with me on X, my handle is at @Motso_Modise. That's at @Motso_Modise. Good afternoon.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
So coming up, your chance to win with News 24. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. And we could call you to play the Raise Your Game quiz, where you could win up to 5,000 Rand cash. T's and C's apply.
For more about 702,
Go to primemediaplus.com.
So that conversation that I wanted us to have, I saw a post, someone pouring out their heart about the reality of being in a family where her father stepped out and, had a child with someone. The father was married to the mother and, he decided to step out, had a child, and now there's issues around whether that child can be accepted. And the lady that was speaking was saying, the woman who, the father's mistress, has an expectation that the father's family, that family should accept that child as their own. They should take them in, even though, the child was born under what many could call undesirable circumstances, And really, the question is, if you have a child with someone who's already married, what kind of acceptance do you think is fair to expect from their spouse and their family? And is it fair to expect any acceptance? Should you rather keep your distance? What is the best way to go about this, particularly for the child? Because as many say, the child isn't at fault. You'll hear people say, Umtana aganaqala. That means the child, there's no fault on the child. The child didn't choose to be born in this situation. But it's always such a tricky situation to navigate, particularly because, as much as there is the expectation by some on the family, the man's family, to accept this child and, accept that this is now another child, part of the family, even though they're not born directly as a result of the marriage. There's also the view about what happens to the woman's feelings, the mother's feelings. Why must she be the one to accept? And I'm using, this in the context of the father stepping out because that's how it often happens. In this instance that I saw, it was the father who stepped out, and that's what happens often. How many times have we heard of people who, it's the father's funeral and we're all planning and out of nowhere, a child comes out and the child looks exactly like the father. Undeniably like the father, and now the family must accept. And, I suppose the conversation also, and I really want to hear from the people that are the children in this instance. It's your father who stepped out, had another child, and now you don't know what to do. Do you accept that other child that's your sibling? It is your sibling. Or do you decide, I'm just going to take my mother's side, and I'm going to keep my distance. I don't want to hurt my mother's feelings. An extension to this conversation is another that I saw that's very similar, about a lady who actually wanted to help that sibling, help the sibling out. That the sibling needed, some help with accommodation, moving to varsity, I think. And, they felt they really wanted to help the sibling. It's a younger sibling, but the mom was not happy about that. And I think that it can be a tricky one, particularly for the children that are involved in this. It becomes even more difficult when the father, the person who should be held accountable, dies. And he's no longer alive. And now we just left to navigate the situation. Is it fair to expect acceptance when it comes to this? Are you in that situation? Have you been in a situation like that? Are you born in that situation? And how has your family been navigating it? Sammy, you're in Centurion and you want to weigh in. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Good day, Khomoso. Like when a child is born outside of wedlock, sure, the parents of the spouse who cheated, they should accept them because they are the ones, their son or their daughter is the one who brought them into this world. But you shouldn't expect the spouse to accept this child. No, because if we look at it around, right? Say the wife steps outside and then she gets pregnant with another child. There is no man on earth who's going to accept that child. No, there isn't. And we should look at it that way. So if we're going to say that the wife must accept this child, let's look at it when the tables are turned, when the wife has stepped outside and had an affair and then fell pregnant with another man's child.
Yeah. Sammy, how far does this not accepting go? Because some spouses take it as far as saying the money in this house will never go towards maintaining that child, That's how far they want to go in we don't accept this child. We will not, I will not even allow you to spend money on that child. And some will say, see what you want to do. I'm not going to get involved in it at all. And I think in the beginning, yes, I don't want to get involved, but really, is it practical that you're not going to get involved at all?
That's what I'm saying, Khomotso. Let's not look at it on the side of the wife does not accept this child. That's what I'm saying. Let's look at also the other way, when the wife has cheated and she's fallen pregnant with another man's wife. I can promise you there's going to be an immediate divorce. That's what I'm saying, there's no man who's going to accept that.
We lost Sammy there. He wanted to finish off his point. Listen, I've seen instances where men have accepted such, where men have been not okay, but they've accepted it. In fact, what I've heard, and the men can correct me, what I've heard is men will often say, we'll ask the wife, have you told anyone? And if the wife hasn't told anyone, it stays between us. We raise this child as if they are our own. For many men, and I stand to be corrected because I'm not a man, but I've heard for many men, it's about how many people know. And it's directly linked to their ego, because they feel that once the whole world knows that you had this child with, another guy, you stepped out, and you did this, and I accepted it and I allowed it, what will they think of me? But if no one knows, I'm willing to take this child in and raise this child as my own. That's usually what many men will say, And I suppose sometimes I don't think we always ask what's best for this child. And I know that it can be a selfish conversation, because sometimes what's best for the child is inconvenient for all of us. Because what's best for the child is having the father and the mother involved in their upbringing, actively involved in their upbringing. And that's not always convenient for all the parties involved, It's not convenient. Someone here is saying, I don't know about acceptance, but the interests of the child are paramount no matter what. And I agree with that. That's a comment from our Facebook. I agree with that. But how do we put our feelings aside? How do we put because really it's what we are feeling. And your feelings are valid. I think if your partner steps out and they have a child and you're angry, I think it's very valid. How do you put that aside and serve the interest of this child? It's a very difficult one. We have the conversation right here on 702 afternoon. Sammy, you're back on the line. Yes, you were still making your point.
Yes, Khomotso. Let's see that we shouldn't expect the other another spouse to accept this child. Because I can tell you, if I were to be married to someone and then she goes out and fell pregnant with another man's child, I'm not going to want to do anything with that child, especially given that in most households, in most families, men are the ones who are responsible financially.
Yeah.
And knowing that I'm going to have to support this man's child up until he or she turns 18. No, I'll never accept it. Not that I know that the child's interests should be considered. The children's Act Section 26 says that, but if it's another man's child,
yes,
I'm not going to accept him. No ways. So we shouldn't expect the wives to accept these children. That's what I'm saying. If the moment that he's saying that no, the wife should think about the child's welfare. Let's look at it when it's a man being done the same thing. So we should always look at it in both ways. And I'm challenging any man who is listening right now to say, if you think that the wife must accept it, let's look at it about you as a man, of how you will react when your wife has fallen pregnant with another man's child.
Right.
Let's see how they will react about this.
Sammy and Centurion challenging men out there. And if you are a man who's accepted this, I want to hear from you. Give us a call, because, listen, I do think that there are men that have accepted such. I know of men who have accepted such, but it's all in the how. It's all in the how. call us. We'll maintain your anonymity. And of course, we just want to hear from you. Of course, someone here on the WhatsApp line, it's on Facebook, someone saying no, or saying it's fair to expect respect and acknowledgement. It's unfair to demand emotional acceptance or inclusion. I hear that, but what does that look like? So what does respect and acknowledgement look like? And on whose part are you speaking? Is this the man respecting and acknowledging that they've messed up and then stepping up, and then but not being emotionally accepting? Because I don't think that's fair. Am I reading that right? Get in touch with us, please. Clarify that comment, because I think particularly with the person who's decided to step out and then they have a child outside of wedlock, they owe that child everything. That child must be raised as closely as possible to how his children in his marriage are raised. They deserve nothing less. It's not the child's fault at all. Someone here saying, no, cheating people don't get acceptance. If he's married, you stay away. Yeah, I know. Someone else here saying it's very selfish and silly for adults to produce a child when cheating. But they do. I do see some of your voice notes coming in. Let's take some of them.
Good afternoon. This is an interesting conversation as to whether the spouse accepts the child. So just maybe a personal story is a friend of mine had to marry his wife because she was pregnant, only to realize when the kid was born was not his and resembled the person that was a so-called friend to his now wife. Being the man that he is, he eventually grew up that kid and took her as his own. So good on him. So it happens.
You see, it's even difficult when the child resembles the other guy. Because if the child resembles the mom, then we can just hush and keep it between us, right? And continue and raise the child as your own. But when the child resembles someone else, and there's always that aunt. Do you know that aunt? That aunt that always goes, hi, man. This child looks like Mang Mang Mang. This child looks like Don. How do you answer that? It's always so tricky. It's always so difficult. Somebody here is saying, hi, Khumuso. In an ideal world, it would be great if children born out of wedlock were accepted, but it should not be an expectation from anyone. I hear that, but how do we move on and create a healthy, stable environment for a child to be raised in if we do not accept? How do we expect that child to grow? The child who did nothing wrong, by the way. How do we expect them to grow and be okay and become, a good member of society, contributes well into society, is raised well, given a fair chance, a fair shot, if they're not accepted? And I know that it's difficult when you are on the part that everyone expects you to accept. I can imagine it's very, very tough. Let's take another voice note.
Good afternoon, 702. Good afternoon, Khumuso. Mina, I impregnated a girl when I was in grade 12, but she refused and told me that, no, the child is not mine. Jiggy, 3 years the line, her husband approached me and told me, Utbafo, that is your child. I said, what can I do? And I said, no, just leave the child. We are going to raise the child. I would like to remain anonymous.
Yeah, I wonder why she did that. I mean, maybe it was about, the other guy's better, or she thought the other guy, she thought the other guy might be better or offers more. Yeah, some of these things happen that way here, and I do think it's unfortunate for the child. The child deserves to know. I wonder if the child knows the truth, and how the truth was told to the child. Because many people grow up and they don't know the truth, and the adults kind of keep it from them. In many families, the truth is kept from the children until that gogo or a member of the family dies, and on their deathbed they reveal what's going on. And I don't think that's fair. Noktula, you're in Randburg. Good afternoon.
Hi, Khumuso. How are you?
I'm very well, Sissy. How are you?
I'm good. I just have to say quickly that I have a major crush on you.
Oh, thank you, Noktula.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What I was saying, I think, is that I think often society, they protect men in so many ways. And I think if the child doesn't stay with the family or is not revealed to the family, then it's another way of protecting the adultery, and it continues to perpetuate like adultery or men being protected by society. So I think it's okay for the man to bear the consequence of his actions, and his family should take that in. And as well, in African culture, there's a thing where you have to do introduction, ancestors. So what if the child wants to know where they come from or they struggle because of that? You know, I mean, I don't believe in ancestors, but I think some families might want to do that. So should the child suffer in that regard, you know? And should the man continue to move on with his life as if like nothing ever happened? Hi, Bonjani.
You know, but how does this man accepting what he's done, Nokuthula, work without the wife also accepting? It's so difficult. It's. I mean, the wife will say, "I don't accept it," but she's staying with the man. So you accept it. You're forced to accept it.
You are forced to accept it, unfortunately. And he needs to find a way of how to bridge the gap in terms of bringing the peace and restoring his marriage. He has to bear the consequence of his marriage breaking down. Unfortunately, it's your actions, and so you have to carry those consequences out. And that maybe your children are gonna view you differently because they thought, oh, dad is amazing, he's a family man. No, dad is not like that. Dad is committing adultery.
Sure.
So, you know, I think it's quite heavy, and I think as a society, if you want to build healthy marriages, maybe we need to stop protecting things like that. It's not just only with adultery, but we know in other areas, you know. So I don't know. Maybe we need to hold men accountable.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Thank you, Komoto.
Thank you for the call.
One.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Thank you. That's Nokuthula in Randburg. I mean, you know, and she raises an important point. You know, the fact that your actions are going to affect how your children see you. And I don't think adults always think about that. That your children see you as this hero. They see you as a person who's upright, someone to look up to, you know. And once you do that, it alters what they think of you. And I think that should be enough to stop you in your tracks. Is it Mornay? You're in North Riding. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Hi. So I take my hat off for those who does accept a child that isn't theirs as their own and raise as own. So I'm happy with that. Where I have a slight challenge is when that child. So imagine the couple do keep it secret that this child is the husband's. Treating as if the child is the husband.
Yeah.
But in fact it isn't. Fast forward years later, the child is sensible, is grown up, and for instance, digs into the family and wants to look into a family tree. And when that person perhaps finds out that this is actually not my biological father, things can turn out so much worse. And that's a personal story of myself. I had my biological parents, but my mother had another father, and I always wondered why are my mother's siblings looking different? and to find out years later, whenever I mentioned the word family tree, there was nervousness.
So everyone knew what was going on here.
Sorry?
So everyone knew what was going on here.
Yeah, there were obviously a few in the family that knew, and I only discovered it during me building a family tree.
Sure.
And I must say I was much more mature and you know adult, so I understood and I kept it as is. But I'm just saying that it might turn out worse if that child one day discovers. So if the parents didn't tell her or him that you are actually from another father, is your biological father or mother, it might turn out very rowdy and very difficult, and it could lead to all other things.
All right, Monet in North Riding, thank you so much for your call. You see, the thing about these things is that they always come out. Somehow, it always comes out. So keeping it a secret, I'm not sure how far it goes and how helpful it is. Someone will say something and it doesn't end well. It's a bit before 1:30. Mikey Molapo is standing by. Good afternoon, Mikey.
Thanks, Khomotso. Good afternoon. Water and Sanitation Deputy Minister David Mahlobo says water supply is gradually being restored to parts of Midrand after improvements in reservoirs. The Deputy Minister and Joburg Mayor Dada Morero gave an update this afternoon at the Midrand Water Depot on the state of water supply to the suburb after days with no water. Mahlobo says at the peak of the disruption, pumping water was not possible, leaving reservoirs critically low. The water disruption was caused by emergency repairs and technical challenges. The board of the Road Accident Fund has painted a picture of a largely dysfunctional organization that can't sustain itself and where the staff have been operating in a climate of fear. Interim board chairperson Kenneth Brown has today told Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts that the fund's paper-based claims system is outdated and, in the case of death, inhumane. The board, whose 6-month term ends in just 5 days, is testifying at an inquiry into maladministration at the fund. And French authorities investigating social media platform X have summoned Elon Musk to answer questions about his Grok AI chatbot. France opened an investigation last month following the proliferation of sexually explicit deepfakes generated by Grok on X. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 2 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, travelling in Midrand, we still have got delays on the N1 North. This is between Allendale Road and New Road. An earlier accident is causing these delays. While travelling in Sandton, we've got an accident reported right on the M1 North after Greyston Drive. Delays towards Marlborough Drive. And there's another accident seen. Unfortunately, this is in the Fairland area, just near on the N1 South, near 14th Avenue. Delays from Beyers Naudé Drive. Do expect about a 20-minute hold-up along this route. If you're heading towards areas like Florida Glen, or even Florida Hills, do expect about 20 minutes of your hold up there. And then if you're traveling in a Mayfair, queuing traffic on Main Reef Road, this is as you approach Crownwood Road. Roadworks are taking place along this route, so please be patient. And then in Bedford View, bumper to bumper traffic on the R24 West between Edenville Road and the N12 merge. This is due to an accident that I'm seeing along this route, so please be patient heading towards the Gilulis interchange. More traffic updates coming up at the top of the hour. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Professions you won't date.
Medical forensic pathologist. You know, one who does postmortems because of... Now, I would persistently think, where have those hands been during the day? And number two is, what on earth scares you?
Mutewa?
I was open to anything, but then I found out that people don't want to date journalists for various reasons.
Amo?
The police, military.
Law enforcement, the police.
No.
Uniform.
It's the risk of what can happen to you, right?
What about the police?
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Are you ready to let go of your ride in the new year? We Buy Cars makes it easy and even enjoyable to part ways with your vehicle. Simply complete their form on webuycars.co.za and they'll handle the rest. Looking to upgrade your car with over 12,000 vehicles for sale? You're certainly spoiled for choice. Visit webuycars.co.za today.
Year in, year out, we're fixing tires faster than a Formula One pit crew. My team is on top of things like tire whisperers. If an unforeseen accident were to happen in my workshop, at least I've got My Way business insurance to keep the wheels turning.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
Can I just say, if they wheel out the election figures, I think Trevor Noah's defense would be in shreds if he even bothered. Clearly, the president of the US does have a reputation to defend.
It's a question of the particular allegations concerned. Has he been accused of that so many times? So if, for example, he hadn't been to Epstein Island, but he had a conviction of some kind of sexual abuse, obviously he doesn't in this case. Going to a geographical location is not on its own a defamatory
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Welcome back. This is 7:02 Afternoons with me, Khomotso Modise. I'm standing in for Relebogile Mabotja. And of course, we're speaking about the dynamics of having children, stepping out of your marriage, I suppose, and having a child out of wedlock. In terms of acceptance, how does this work? And is it fair to expect the other partner, your spouse, to accept that child? And what does that acceptance actually look like? Let's take another voice note.
Good afternoon, Khomotso. Based on the topic that we are having about the children, how do we accept them? I was in that situation where my husband actually made 3 children within my marriage.
Yeah.
And with the first one, I accepted it and said, you know what? I have to deal with this. I don't know how we're going to deal with it, but we'll see when the child is born. But let me tell you something. Besides the acceptance, the relationship never, ever was the same anymore. It was not the same anymore. And I guess what? It came to a point where I said, you know what? I can't deal with this. We end up having a divorce. That's how I end up divorcing my husband. Great topic. Thanks. Bye.
Sure. Thank you for sharing that with us. 3 children? The first one, I know people after the first one that just tap out and say, I'm not going to take this anymore. But 3? Also, it speaks to the level of disrespect. Because you have the first child and I forgive you and I decide to stay and let's work it out. And then you're going to go do it again and I forgive you. And then you go do it again. No, I'm sorry. I don't think that's acceptable. Good for you. Good for you for leaving that situation. It clearly didn't serve you, And, I'd love to hear more from you, actually, about how you went about, how you even had the strength to accept the first 2 before deciding to leave eventually. But yes, I do suppose that the lesson here is don't cheat.
David here. I just realized there's nice men out there. Me, raise a child that is not mine. Never.
Hi, Khomotso. How are you? Let me start it by saying it will depend on how many mistakes have been done. And if it was a first mistake, I think as a wife, as a spouse, you must just accept and life's carry on. And accepting, I mean, even the maintenance and all this stuff. Because otherwise, it will be torture to another child. Yes, we always complaining and then talking about child abuse and whatever, blah, blah. And sometimes we do it indirect and we are not aware that we are doing it. If the problem had happened, no, we cannot fix a problem by another problem. Thank you. Clipiscope.
Thank you so much for those voice notes and thank you for sharing your experiences. It's always beautiful to hear you share these experiences because, quite frankly, I think this happens more often than we think it does. But as I was saying, I do think that the lesson is don't cheat. And if you actually don't cheat, Abel is looking at me. I think he wants me to say don't cheat, but no, don't cheat. Don't do it at all. And try your best to respect your partner because the effects of this, it's heartbreaking. People that are raised in families that are broken because as the one voice note said, you never come back from such. Thank you so much for your voice notes and your calls.
Headlines hit, questions fire, money stacks higher. Raise your game with News 24 on 702.
Welcome back. So News 24 is turning up the stakes on 702 Afternoons and your chance to win starts right here. Step up and take on the Raise Your Game quiz, the ultimate test of your knowledge. Answer three questions and stack your winnings. Earn 500 Rand for question 1, 1,500 Rand for question 2, and 3,000 Rand for question 3. And you keep what you've banked with the correct answers to the questions. Hit primemediaplus.com. And now to enter, and we could be calling you to play Raise Your Game quiz on 702 when News 24 sets the bar. T's and C's apply. So, if you're not a News 24 subscriber yet, it's time to raise your game. Subscribers get unlimited access to trusted journalism, breaking stories, in-depth investigations, business insights, sports updates, podcasts, documentaries, brain games, digital magazines, recipes, and so much more. With a single subscription, you can step up your understanding and elevate your screen time. Subscribe to News 24 today and raise your game. All right, it's time for us to play, and our contestant this afternoon is Mpendulo from Meadowlands in Soweto. Mpendulo, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Are you ready to play?
Hi, Komoto. Yeah, I guess I am. Thank you.
Okay. Are you confident, Mpendulo?
To some extent.
Okay, well, I hope that you will have, you will live up to your name and you will have the answers. Okay, Mpendulo?
Let's hope so.
All right, then. You've got 3 questions, and I hope that you'll be able to make some money. Here's your question 1. It says, who hosted the Grammys this past Sunday?
So one and only Trevor Noah.
Ooh, well done. Yes, that is correct.
Awesome.
All right, so that's 500 Rand. I need you to make more money. Question
All right.
2.
See what you got.
What is the Saturday edition of News 24 called?
Saturday edition.
Come on. Okay, think about Saturday, when the Saturday lies. When is it?
Snaps.
Yeah, when in the day is the Saturday? That's my clue to you.
Oh, when in the
week?
Wait.
When in the week? That? When in the week is the Saturday? That's my clue.
Weekend. So the weekend edition.
Should we give it to him? No. Oh, shame. Sorry. The panel says no. It's the weekend.
Oh, snap. The weekend.
You were almost there. The weekend. Okay. Should we give him the third question? Okay. We're going to try this with the third question. So it's your chance to win the 1.5. It says, name one of the 2 countries hosting the T20 World Cup, which starts this coming weekend.
That's cricket, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading about the West Indies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if they're one of the host countries, though.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to need an answer.
So I'll go for T20. Is it England? And no, India is in the spotlight as well. So I'm guessing India and Pakistan, maybe.
I'll take India. Yes, well done. It's India or Sri Lanka, and you've named one, which is India.
Second. Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. Well done, Mpendulo. So you win 3. No, is it? Okay, you won 3,500 Rand. Woo!
Oh wow! Thank you.
Well done. Thank you so much for playing with us. And what are you going to do? What are you planning to do with this money?
Well, I've been paying for my own school fees, so this will help in reducing the outstanding balance.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, happy studying and all the best.
Thank you so much.
All right. Congratulations, Mpendulo. You've won 3,500 Rand thanks to News 24 on 702. Tune in again tomorrow for another chance to win. Subscribe to News 24 today and raise your game on 702.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
The Johannesburg City Council has approved a proposal to create a new deputy mayor position. The proposal, tabled by the ANC, was adopted by the council. It's understood the ANC intends for its newly appointed leader in the city, Loyiso Masuku, to be elected to the role. The city says the deputy mayor will ensure uninterrupted executive authority.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
This This Sunday, the pressure hits boiling point on Celebrity MasterChef. The semi-finals are here and there's nowhere left to hide. Seth Shezi, Holly Ray, Mzugisi Mbane and Dineo Ranaka return to a kitchen where every plate is judged, every move is watched. This is where strong cooks crack and the real contenders rise. One dish can take them closer to the final. One mistake can end it all. Don't miss Celebrity MasterChef this Sunday at 6 p.m. only on ETV.
It's official. Auto in General covers the world's best drivers. We're proud to be an official tournament partner of Live Golf South Africa 2026, the first on African soil. Stand to win tickets to the event and your share of 100,000 Rand. Here's to a world-class tournament. And the insurer that never misses. Auto in General, never not there. Auto in General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP T's and C's online.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Business conditions appear to be improving. The Absa Purchasing Managers Index rising to 48.7 points in January from just 40.5 in December.
So when you look at the January data, the PMI increased by 8.2 points to 48.7 points. Yes, it's still below the 15 retail mark, but we take easy wins where we can.
Silo Sokele, the Absa economist there.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa CIB, returning as proud investment theme sponsor of the African Mining Indaba 2026. Absa is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
Tech Feature.
It's time for the Tech Feature on 702 Afternoons. I'm excited for this conversation because it's a story of a young man who saw a need and he's created a platform that I think it connects service providers together with everyday people who just want services. I don't know how many times I've looked for someone to wash my carpet, someone to help me wash the sofas after a while. And I start looking and I just can't find them. And it's the type of things that you can find on the Service Hub. The founder of the Service Hub is joining us on studio, and he is Ubonakgetse Pataki. He's changing how we access services in South Africa. Ubonakgetse, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Afternoon to you, Khomotso, and all the listeners and viewers.
Thank you so much for coming through. I mean, I was actually thinking when I was reading this and preparing for this, that I don't know how many times I've thought of services that I need, and especially after I moved, to the new area that I live in now, I just didn't know where to find stuff, everyday, regular stuff. And I suppose that's where your idea came from.
Yes, we came to a realization that SMEs are really struggling with marketing, especially digital marketing, and they're limited to word of mouth, and that also causes SMEs to have a high failure rate in South Africa.
Mm-hmm. And so you decided on the app. Is that where you started, or was there an initial idea that developed into the app that you now have as Service Hub?
Yes, then we came up with the concept of having an app called Service Hub, which is currently now available on our website and will be available on Android and iOS shortly.
Mm. Just speak to us about Service Hub. How does it work? How does the app work, and what's it about?
So I like to refer to it as the modern day Yellow Pages.
Mm.
So it connects everyday service providers and consumers. So for example, if I were to be looking for a plumber or an electrician, I would come onto the app, sign in, look for the specific service that I'm looking for in my area. It would have ratings, reviews, a profile of the service provider with images, their costing, and their contact details as well.
Mm. And I mean, do you have a background in tech? Is this why you thought, let's put an app together? Or were you the guy who saw a need and wanted to fill the gap?
I saw the need and I wanted to fill the gap. I actually have a background in entrepreneurship.
Mm.
Yes.
And I mean, what are the different services that you would find on Service Hub? You speak about a plumber. What's the range looking like? Because as I said, for me, it's the finding someone to come clean my chairs and my sofas.
It's actually broad. We are not specific in terms of the type of service. So it ranges from graphic designing, your carpenters, your cleaning, gardening, car washes, and so forth.
Yes. And from a tech perspective, what went into putting this app together? I mean, how much work is it? I always think, apps now are on our phones, and we all have countless apps on our phones, but we don't think about the work that goes into setting them up and how they are built. So you're this guy, you see the need, but you don't have any background in tech. So what do you do?
So without the background in tech, you'd actually approach someone who is in tech, a software developer, an app developer, to come and work with you. So that's how we approached it. But it is quite a lot of work, especially because we are self-funded.
So you, okay. So you say the project is self-funded.
Yes.
And did you have an idea of what you wanted it to be, what you wanted it to look like, or was it developed over time?
It was developed over time. It actually took us about 4 years to develop what we have now.
And I suppose, so it's 4 years from the time that you saw the gap
yes.
to what you have now.
Yes.
One may be thinking, what may be the delay? Because 4 years is long. If I wake up today and I have this epiphany or this clever idea that I think, oh, this is great, I'm hoping I can get it cracking next week because, someone else might be thinking the same idea. Why did it take so long?
I think the reason it took long is because we needed to be sure about our target market and the niche. We needed to be sure that this is the right market and also develop the right strategy to implement our approach in targeting SMEs and consumers. The other reason is a lack of funding. So we, like I said, we've been self-funding. So it's not as easy to just wake up and implement something if you're just self-funding. Yes.
We are speaking to Obonakgetsi Pataki. He's the founder of the Service Hub. If you use the Service Hub and you've come across the app, get in touch with us. The number to dial is 011-883-0702. So in terms of areas, which areas does the Service Hub cover? Can anyone around the country download the app and start looking, or is it still limited to certain areas?
No, it's not limited to certain areas. It's open to the whole of South Africa currently.
And so how does it work? I'm Khomotso. Let's say I run a business that maybe what do I do? I don't want to say kirikisa makweng. I want to say maybe I wash sofas, right?
Yes.
What do I do? How do I go about getting on your app?
So for now, businesses can register on our website. It's open right now, which is www.service-hub.co.za. And you'd come onto the platform, you'd create a profile, your username, password, and you'd log into the system. You'd then go and list your services. So you'd put in the name of your business, its description, details such as your contact details, email, social media accounts, phone number. You'd be able to upload images of your work, videos as well, your pricing, and you'd also be able to manage your bookings on the platform as well.
And how do you make sure that the quality of the service providers on the app remains good, and of the highest quality? You don't want yourself in a position where you've got people on the app that are not necessarily providing services to the standard that which you want them to.
Yes, so we have vetting systems in place. We don't just approve all service providers that want to be on the platform. So we vet. It takes about 24 hours for a profile to be put up on Service Hub, actually. So we vet you as a service provider, and if needs be, depending on the type of work that you're doing, would also request for references. Yes.
If you are a service provider out there and you want to get on the Service Hub, or you've got questions for my guest this afternoon, get in touch with us. The number to dial is 011-883-0702. Alternatively, you can send a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. We're speaking to Obonakgetsi Pataki, who's the founder of the Service Hub. And of course, this is a hub that connects service providers to everyday people. And you get onto the app and you find what you're looking for. Very convenient when you are new in an area and you're trying to find some basic services and you don't want to have to ask people around and not just rely on word of mouth. All right. So in terms of the fee structure, how does that work? If I'm Khomotso, I'm a plumber, I want to get on Service Hub, what do I pay? Do I have to pay anything? How does it work?
So initially when you sign up, we give you a 1 month free trial for you to experience the app in and its full functions in order for you to decide which package you actually want, because we are running a subscription-based model. So you as Khomotso coming onto the platform as a service provider would pay a monthly subscription fee depending on which package you choose.
For however long you stay on the app.
Yes, you pay per month.
Okay. And you don't take a commission like other service providers, maybe?
No, we don't take a commission because we feel that taking commission is being unfair to both the service provider and the customer, because we're taking unlike our competitors who take up to 25% in commission. We thought that taking 25% from every job that someone gets through Service Hub would be unfair because we're limiting their margins and taking their profits. And on the other end, the service providers can easily charge the consumer that 25%, and that means the consumer is paying 25% more than the value that they're getting. So it would be very unfair of us.
And what does success look like for Service Hub over the next 3 to 5 years? I mean, I suppose you're already thinking about what scaling may look like, what growing may look like for your business?
Yes, I think over the next 3 to 5 years, I think if we're able to have a concrete national footprint, it would be the best goal that we can achieve. To be able to say that Service Hub is available and it's working for the people of South Africa. It's putting money in the hands of SMEs to grow, to scale. It's putting money on people's tables, because another thing that we need to realize is that the economy of South Africa is not doing well. So even if people are employed, they do need a side hustle to get through the month. And this platform gives them that ease to say that I'm on Service Hub. Service Hub is doing marketing for me. I'm visible, and I'm able to get an income through Service Hub as well.
All right, that does sound great. Now, just speak to us about where people can find you, find the Service Hub, your socials. Where can they find you?
So you can find us on TikTok. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at servicehub_SA. You can also visit us on our website, which is www.service-hub.co.za. Yes.
I suppose my last question to you is, for a young person who's considering getting into tech and wanting to explore that, has a brilliant idea, and they're sitting at home thinking, how? What should they do first?
The first thing you should do once you've identified a gap is to do research as to how other people have solved this issue, how other countries are going about it. Just explore and do your research, go into depth and find solutions that you can improve, or develop your own solution and just go for it. It never hurts to try.
Never hurts to try. That is Relebogile Mabotja. He's the founder of the Service Hub. And it's always interesting to hear and see young people who identify a gap in the market, and they want to fill that. But also, I don't know how many times I've, thought of things in my area and I just couldn't find those services. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know who to ask. And I also think that, it's great that there are systems that are put in place by Service Hub to vet, and to almost maintain the quality of the professionals and the businesses that are loaded on the hub. Before I let you go, I do see one question coming in. Someone here saying, what did it actually cost him to create the app? Are you willing to share that?
Not at the moment.
Okay. I do think, that's an interesting question, particularly because, many people are thinking getting into tech is pricey, can be rather pricey. And you did say that it was out of pocket for you. But he says, just do it. Just get started. All right, that conversation with Relebogile Mabotja, founder of the Service Hub, will be available on the Prime Media Plus app. And we wish him all of the very best as he continues to pursue his work in the tech space and the Service Hub. All right. After the break, we're going to be having a conversation on gun power. It's a series edition that we're starting on the show, and we speak about gun safety. Today, we speak about knowing your gun, how to go about handling firearms safely. We'll have that and more after the news.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. DA leader John Steenhuisen is expected to bow out of the party's leadership race ahead of its national elective congress in April. The rumour mill has gone into overdrive after the party issued a media report alert today that Steenhuisen will make an announcement on matters of national importance in his hometown of Durban tomorrow. Sources have indicated to Eyewitness News that while Steenhuisen may be giving up on the expectation that he will stand for a third term as party leader, he's unlikely to quit his ministerial role just yet. Alpha Ramushana has more.
Just 10 days ago, DA leader John Steenhuisen gave his strongest indications yet that he was not about to hand over the party reins without a challenge when he addressed the Parliamentary Gallery Association in Cape Town. With the party only expected to officially open the nominations process for party leader at the end of this month, Steenhuisen said at the time that it would be improper to openly declare his intentions. He now appears to have had second thoughts amid turmoil within the party that has put him under investigation by the DA's Federal Legal Commission. Although cleared of allegations made by the party's former finance chairperson Dion George that Steenhuisen allegedly abused party funds for personal use, he's still facing disciplinary action for bringing the party into disrepute over this public fallout. Should Steenhuisen follow through with the announcement tomorrow, it could pave the way for Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis to throw his hat in the ring. Hill-Lewis has repeatedly said that he would not vie for leadership if he had to compete against Steenhuisen. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
Water and Sanitation Deputy Minister David Mahlobo says water supply is gradually being restored to parts of Midrand after improvements in reservoirs. The Deputy Minister and Joburg Mayor Dada Morero gave an update this afternoon at the Midrand Water Depot on the state of water supply to the suburb after days with no water. Mahlobo says at the peak of the disruption, pumping water was not possible, leaving reservoirs critically low. The water disruption was caused by emergency repairs and technical challenges. A power outage at the Zekerbo treatment plant exacerbated the crisis. Mahlobo says a phased restoration is currently underway.
At the current point where we are, we should be able to have a number of areas to start to get water, especially in the 4 areas that Comrade Mayor we have referred to. But the area of Grand Central remains our biggest concern. And we've directed the teams of Randwater, Joburg City, Eguruleni, and Swane that they must be able to work together so that we can be able to recalibrate because it's an integrated system.
We move to the courts where the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo has been presented with evidence showing that more than 9.5 million rand was deposited into the bank account of the alleged mastermind in the Parapara burglary, Emmanuela David. David is charged alongside siblings Froliana and Ndilinasho Joseph. The trio is accused of breaking into and entering President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm in February 2020 and stealing $580,000 in cash. Tabiso Goba is attending court proceedings.
A new state's witness has taken the stand today. A Hawks detective working in the Financial Crimes Division, who was tasked with investigating the financial transactions of accused number 1, Emmanuela David, and his alleged accomplices. The detective says there were large amounts of money flowing into David's accounts after February 2020, which is when the burglary at Parapara took place.
The total amount that was deposited into the account for the period 3 February 2020 to the 31st May 2022 was 9,594,114.30.
According to earlier testimony in this case, prior to 2020, David was in between jobs. His last known formal employment was working as a security guard. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
The board of the Road Accident Fund has painted a picture of a largely dysfunctional organization that can't sustain itself and where the staff have been operating in a climate of fear. Interim board chairperson Kenneth Brown has today told Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts that the fund's paper-based claims system is outdated and in the case of death, inhumane. The board, whose 6 months term ends in just 5 days, is testifying at an inquiry into maladministration at the fund. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Board Chairperson Kenneth Brown has not minced his words, telling Parliament there's still a long way to go to fix a broken system.
The magnitude of the work is massive. It's a massive task. I will not lie to you. So the task ahead is going to be tough.
Brown says the finances of the organisation remain precarious. The fund needed to make payouts of around 20 billion rand in December, with less than 5 billion rand in the bank.
What broke the camel's back was when the Road Accident Fund lost the case on the moratorium, the 180-day moratorium.
Brown says the board's intervention has also revealed around 300 staff who had previously been unfairly suspended have not been assigned any jobs upon their return, while there are around 400 more staff who have been contracted in. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And French authorities investigating social media platform X have summoned Elon Musk to answer questions about its Grok AI chatbot. France opened an investigation last month following the proliferation of sexually explicit deepfakes generated by Grok on X. Summons for voluntary interviews in April in Paris have been sent to Musk and a former CEO in their capacity as de facto and de jure managers of the X platform at the time of the events. A recent study estimates that Grok could have produced up to 3 million sexualized images in 11 days this month alone, including 23,000 of children. Gold's trading at $4,819.87 an ounce. The rand's at 16.02 to the dollar, at 21.88 to the pound, at 18.88 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $66.27 a barrel.
And in your traffic in Sandton, there's been an accident on the Mike 1 North after Greyston Drive, causing heavy delays. And in the western side of Johannesburg, there's another accident on the November 1 South before 14th Avenue, causing heavy traffic volumes from Beyers-Naudé Drive.
Gold's trading at 4,000. I beg your pardon, and look at your weather. A partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with thunder showers expected. Temperatures are peaking at highs between 27 and 30 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour: DA leader John Steenhuisen is expected to bow out of the party's leadership race ahead of its National Elective Congress in April.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7.
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
It's 7 minutes past 2 right here on 702 afternoons. My name is Khomotso Modise. I'm in for Relebogile Mabotja this afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to be having our series edition on gun power. It's a series that the show starts today for the month of February. And we're going to be speaking about all things firearms. Today we talk about the safe handling of guns, knowing your gun. And my guest for that is Themba Kupega, who's a South African security operator, who's going to be talking to us about that. If you own a firearm, get in touch with us. If you are thinking about it but want to know the safety issues around it, any compliance matters, get in touch with us. Themba's here to take your questions. And then in the final half hour of the show, we're going to be having our car feature, of course, and all technical issues. We talk to Nicole Lowe, who's our expert. Today, we kick off the conversation with a chat about your aircon. The aircon in your car. What do you need to know? Refueling, as well as what you should know when it starts to run out. What you should consider about your aircon. Of course, after that, we'll take any of your questions, whatever technical questions you have about your vehicle. Nicole Lowe is ready to take those. So please get in touch with us. The number to dial is 011-883-0702. Alternatively, you can give us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702.
702.
Series edition.
So the series edition for the month of February is on gun power. And the truth is, firearms are a part of South Africa's reality, whether through private ownership, security, or crime. But what's often missing from the conversation is education. Education, particularly around safety when it comes to firearms. It's also a conversation that's very polarizing. Some people feel strongly that one should not own a firearm. They refuse to be around anyone with a firearm. And other people are open to the suggestion and the conversation, especially because of the crime-ridden country that we live in. But someone here to almost place things in perspective for us is Themba Kupega, who is a South African security operator, and he joins us in the studio. Themba, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time.
Afternoon. Thank you for having me.
You know, too little information is available out there when it comes to firearms and gun safety. We often only hear about firearms when we hear about crimes, when we hear about, criminal matters in court, someone murdered this person, ballistic evidence, it's always in a very negative light. But there's virtually no information out there that's educational about the use of guns, is there?
There is a lot of educational information if you know where to search. It is unfortunately not as funded as the misinformation. So it is there. We do exist. You have organizations like our own South African Gun Owners Association, and we do this for free. If you go on your social media, you'll find a lot of EDC pages where people from different organizations, be it if you're asking about hunting, because guns also exist for hunting and sport, you have a lot of people like myself out there who are willing to give information for free. Unfortunately, you have other people on the other side who are being paid to, spread the misinformation. So we can go on all day about it, but I want to get into those politics. I'd rather just focus on, the topic, which is firearm safety.
Now I'm interested in what the misinformation around firearms looks like. I suppose the next question then is, because you're saying there is information out there, are you finding that the people that are buying firearms and become handlers eventually are making this decision as informed individuals, or do people go out there, get a license, and just get the gun?
I think it's a mix. If you look at, again, I'll go back to social media because that's where the world lives now.
Yeah.
You get questions or inquiries from different people. And you can tell from things that they say and some of the answers from people who think they know who are actually misinformed. So you can tell that there's people who have actually taken time to inform themselves, educate themselves, go and actually do their proficiency testing at accredited training institutions. And then you have people that have watched enough movies to think they have, they should make an opinion. And you can tell that this one is losing it here and there. And people are buying because of either they've been exposed to crime one way or another. In a way, I was one of those when I started out in the field. And you have people that buy because a friend bought. You have people that have been informed and, like I would do from time to time through Saga, we take a bunch of women, about 10, 20 women every now and again for free to give them an experiential feel of firearms and basically the law and legislation behind them.
And from a safety perspective, what's the correct mindset to have when one wants to own a firearm? Because you speak about the different reasons that people have for wanting to get a gun. But what's the mindset that one should have when they're considering owning one?
Let's start with the state of mind. The state of mind should be sober, very sober. You need to be sober. The mindset should be that of safety. You're getting the firearm for your safety, but you also need to be safe around the firearm so that you don't become a danger to other people. Because we don't carry firearms to enforce our will on others. We carry firearms so that others may not enforce their ill will on us. So it's more like the one thing that levels the playing field, because more often than not, when you get attacked in this country, you'll be attacked by someone who's armed. The only thing that can deter an armed attacker is an armed would-be victim. So if you turn, proverbially the gun on them, I don't think they'll continue doing that. So that is the mindset. You have to think safety on all ends. Your safety, the safety of your family and your neighbors and other people just around you. That would be the mindset, I think.
I do want us to move now to, the how to go about treating your firearm. But before I do, you spoke about misinformation. What's some of the misinformation that's been making the rounds around firearms? Because I think I might have seen some of that and maybe I didn't know it's incorrect.
Yeah.
So what are some of those, untruths that are making the rounds?
What I find to be the biggest one is when people say, no, legal firearms are a legal burden. People get arrested because of legal firearms. The second one would be the the law of the land is more on the side, it's leaning towards the criminals or the perpetrators of crimes than the people who own guns
like I've heard
legally.
Yes, I've heard you know the if the person was facing the other way and you fire a shot maybe from behind, then you're going away for a long time.
It's quite technical.
Okay.
Technical. If a person is looking the other way, but they're continuing to shoot at you, that's a different
How are they going to shoot at you when they're looking the other way?
They can. You can shoot while running.
Ah, okay.
You can shoot while running.
Okay.
Even in movies, you see that. I've personally experienced it in one of the few attacks that I've had on. So, but if remember the law says it should be an imminent, ongoing illegal attack on you or another innocent person.
Hey.
You see, so that covers it. So if the attacker stopped, I'll refer to a case from not so long ago where a police officer somewhere off duty left his firearm under his car seat, which you don't do, right? There's only two places to store a firearm: on your person, in a holster, or in the safe locked away nicely.
Okay.
Right. So he left his firearm under the car seat, went to an ATM, got robbed at an ATM. The guys left.
With his car?
No.
Okay.
They left on foot or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Right? He went to his car to retrieve a firearm. He's now the aggressor. He's now attacking people who are no longer a danger to him. He's alive. He's fine. He's injured, but the attack is done.
Sure.
He got sentenced.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now he became the aggressor.
So there wasn't an imminent.
It was no longer imminent. It was no longer ongoing.
Okay. All right, sure. We are speaking about gun power, and we're speaking about gun safety, particularly this afternoon. My guest is Themba Kupeka, South African security operator and firearms safety advocate. Give us a call. Do you own a firearm, or are you considering to own one? If you have any questions for Themba this afternoon, the number to dial is 011-883-0702. Send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. All right. So I want to know, how then, and you've touched on this before a bit right now, how should firearms be treated, always be treated? So you own a gun and you have it with you. It must always be on your person?
All right. Let's touch on the legislation again.
Yeah.
Under Section 84 of the Firearms Control Act of 2000, any person who handles a firearm must do so safely and responsibly, whether licensed or not.
And what does that mean? Because it sounds very broad to me.
Well, it means adhere to the basic safety rules, which are not optional. They are quite binding. Because as I just said about the police officer, it's quite unfortunate. But unfortunately, he went above board. So, 1, always treat a firearm as if it's loaded. 2, never point it at anything you're not prepared to destroy. C, keep your finger off the trigger until you intend to fire. D, be sure of your target and what is beyond it. Because negligent handling of a firearm is a criminal offense. Even if shots are not fired, by the way.
So even if you pointed it at someone, that's an offense.
You can go down for quite a bit.
And what would the charge there be?
Pointing of a firearm.
Pointing of a firearm.
Yes, it's a charge on its own. You don't have to have discharged it. You don't have to have hit anyone or anyone doesn't have to. We don't have to have a dead body after you've done that. You pulling out a firearm and pointing it at a person is a charge on its own.
And then, of course, so I think what you said earlier was if it's not on your person, then it should be in a safe.
Locked away in a safe, in a prescribed safe, yes.
So no cupboards, no places
That's
like
negligent.
that. No wardrobes.
Yeah, because if an incident, a gun-related incident happens in my home, right? The first question is not who did it. It's how, what led to it. So if there was a firearm lying around and my son picked it up and was trying to manipulate it and see what's happening, and it accidentally a round goes off and hits someone in the house or outside, maybe goes through the door or the window, I'm responsible for that.
As the owner of the firearm.
Yeah. It's my negligence that led to him discovering a firearm and wanting to play around. Which is one of the reasons why we would take children and your spouse to the range and give them the information and training on firearm safety and how to handle a firearm. The certain instances where, for instance, I would be sleeping next to you and maybe I'm sick, maybe I've had an accident, and people start breaking into the door, into the house, and you can hear them breaking the door. And because I'm incapacitated at the moment, you would be able to use my firearm. I mean, in court, we can plead a crime of necessity, that had you not done that, we probably would have all died. Other things could have happened to you. I've got a female in the house, probably my daughter as well. I don't know what the intentions of these people who've been breaking into the house are. So you see the technicality there. So when people say the law favors the criminals, it doesn't make sense. It just means people are misinterpreting and misunderstanding the law altogether.
My guest this afternoon is Themba Kubheka. He's a South African security operator and firearms safety advocate. Let me take some of your calls. Mabasa, you're in Kempton Park. Thank you so much for giving us a call. Please go ahead.
Hi, how are you? And just a quick question. So I wanted to ask, say for example, I've got a pistol with me and I'm from a fishing trip, and then I need to pass by the mall, and I have it with me, and at the mall they're saying that no firearm allowed. And yet the law is saying that I can't leave the pistol in the car. What do I do in that instance?
Go ahead.
All right. So a quick answer. You see, with me, I carry my firearm 24/7. It's only in government buildings like your courts and home affairs that I do not take my firearm with.
Okay.
But anywhere else, including church or the mosque, if I have to go there, I will always carry my firearm on me. The best thing you can do is conceal a firearm. I remember, I'm going to give you an example. A couple of years ago, can't remember exactly which year it was, I had to take the Gau train to go pick up a client at the airport. Without me realizing, I took an Uber. Without me realizing, my jacket had gone up and revealed my firearm. Security guard came to me and said, "Sir, you cannot carry your firearm." And it's because I somehow I revealed the firearm. But as I walked in here, did you notice me carrying a firearm?
No, but now I know.
I'm carrying very heavy. So if no one knows, no one will bother you, sir.
No problem. Thank you very much for the answer.
Pleasure.
All right, thank you. But what about metal detectors? I mean, yes, I know in courts, some police stations, I suppose, also have metal detectors. But what about other places that have detectors? Won't it beep?
It depends on the rule of the house. Nedbank down the road, they've got safes.
Where you can pop your firearm
Yeah, where you can pop in, whether you're staff or a visitor.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it depends. So if it happens at home affairs, for instance, they'll just ask you to leave. There's no place where you can. If I go to the CIRA office for my compliance issues,
yes,
they've got safes there. So I'll keep the one key. So the safes have double action keys. So I'll keep the one, and the security guard at the door will keep the other.
All right. Yeah. I do see your WhatsApps and your messages coming through. Let's take some voice notes.
Hi, Khumuto. How are you? I can hear those rules of firearms. So then, actually, my question here is, who must report you if you didn't obey one of those rules? You violated one of those rules. Because my question, why I'm asking that question, we can see on social medias, there's a province that we all know in South Africa that their firearm is like a toy. And I think even their kids, they're playing with a firearm. And I don't know who must can take the steps against those people. I'm sorry, I just don't want to mention that province, but I think everybody know that province. Thank you.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah. So if you witness such, you have a right as a citizen to to lay a complaint. You can even make it an anonymous tip. The SAPS is always happy to record a new illegal firearm or an illicit firearm case. They love those. And as for KZN, the province you do not want to name, I'll help you. I'll name the province for you. The police have actually been using, I saw a couple of cases in KZN and in the Eastern Cape. The police have been using those videos to actually go for those people. I wonder if you haven't seen, there's people who like to post them and juxtapose. They post the one where the guy was committing the crime, and then they will say a few minutes later or after the break, one of those jokes, and they will post the one where this guy is now begging the police for mercy. So the police do actually, you have crime intelligence. I work very closely with them, and they do go after such people when those videos come up.
All right. I do see a WhatsApp message here saying, my license has expired, and when I tried to renew it, I was told that they no longer renew firearms. Is that true?
That is absolutely hogwash.
Yeah, I hope so. Hogwash. I hope it's not true.
Remember, a firearm license, like any other license, is more of an administrative process. So you can, in fact, if you can try something else, you can apply for it as a new license instead of a renewal. Okay. See what they say, because there's a firearm here. It's already in your possession.
Yeah.
What do they mean they won't renew it? There's no law that says so.
But they should renew it.
They
right?
should. By law, they must. They have to.
All right. Yeah, because something doesn't sound right.
Yeah, something doesn't sound right. But I've seen from people that have assisted that some of the DFOs in these police stations,
yes.
your designated firearms officer, they don't really understand, or they don't correctly interpret or update themselves on the law as it changes.
All right. I think let's take another voice note.
Good afternoon. May I find out, do the gun laws also include toy guns? Do they also include toy guns? That's Tabo in Soweto.
You know, that's a great question, because I've seen videos of people saying whether or not it was a real gun. If you committed a crime with the firearm, then you'll be charged with the correct schedule. So it will Schedule 5 or whatever. Is that the case?
That is the case, yes. So it's unfortunate that Bratabo's question is a bit vague. I wish he could have had time to extrapolate a bit. If you're going to use even a replica firearm in the commissioning of a crime, you're going to be charged with a firearm crime. There's no different section that's going to say robbery with a toy gun or a pellet gun or a blank gun, whatever. There's many different types. There's air guns, there's all sorts of things. You used a firearm. So the person at whom you pointed the firearm at the time of the crime did not know whether that was a toy or not. The fear that you instill in this person is the same.
Yeah.
As you would with a real firearm, because they believe that their life is about to end. So there's no different section of the law that rules out, oh no, it was a toy gun, therefore the robbery was lesser. No, it was still the same robbery.
Yeah.
So you'll be charged accordingly.
Right, Fani, you're in Johannesburg. You want to speak about the size of guns?
Yes, Mama, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'd just like to emphasize in terms of the concealment, because what I've seen in most guys, they go for the size and the looks and all of that, but guns actually work the same. So I would just learn to advise people that when you are buying a firearm, just go for something that's gonna feel right in your hand and something that you will be able to carry. Like my brother said, that he carries his firearm for 24/7, you know. So yeah, just like to emphasize on that.
Thank you so much for your call, Fanny. Yeah, he's speaking about the size, né? And how some people will want the biggest firearm. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the idea is it makes you look more dangerous. But, I suppose he's making the point that use a firearm that you can actually handle and manage.
He's very much correct. I mean, the same province that we had spoken about, there's areas in that province where if you are carrying a non-metal firearm, it's not considered a good firearm. And this myth was also pushed in the olden days by the dealers themselves, because they would want to push out stock that they had. And there was a lot of myths that were told to people. You hear someone saying, a Beretta is more stronger than a Glock. There's no such thing. A 9mm firearm will do what a 9mm firearm will do. Whether it's polymer, whether it's metal, even if it's gold, it won't stop a threat nicer than the other one. It'll do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Ballistically, there's absolutely no difference in the two.
All right, my guest is Themba Kubeka, South African security operator and firearms safety advocate. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time. He's been talking to us about gun power or gun safety. Know your gun. And I think it's an important conversation to have. Of course, this series is part of the series edition on the afternoon, 7:02 afternoons with Relebogile Mabotja. So more on this next week. It is a little after 2:30. Mikey Molapo is standing by. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Khomotso. Good afternoon. The Madlanga Commission has heard of a possible arms deal between a Gauteng cop and an alleged relative of the late former Deputy President David Mabuza. Testifying partially in camera from an undisclosed location, witness F confirmed WhatsApp messages between himself and Mabuza's nephew around the sale of a large consignment of firearms. Earlier, witness F, a member attached to the Gauteng organized crime, confirmed he acted as a middleman between criminally accused tender tycoon Rusmusi Kat Matlala and suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya. Meanwhile, in the National Assembly, the evidence of a former State Security Agency official was delayed today because he did not have the relevant permission from the Director General to testify. Xolile Mashukuka, the former chairperson of the State Security Agency, was set to make a public submission today, but evidence leaders raised issues on whether he is certified to submit what could possibly be classified information. The public hearings continued for a second week today, with 4 more submissions expected today. And a U.S. judge is set to hear a request to block access to the Epstein files. The Justice Department released more than 3 million files last week related to the investigation into the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, including links to high-profile figures. Epstein died in custody in 2019. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 3 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
In Midrand, there are heavy delays on the November 1 North between Olifantsfontein Road and New Road due to an earlier accident. In Sandton, there are some delays on the Mike 1 North after Grayston Drive due to an earlier crash, and an accident seen on the November 1 South before 14th Avenue, causing heavy traffic volumes. Some of the traffic lights out in Edenvale at Modderfontein and Van Riebeck. Pointsman on duty, and in Midrand at the N1 North and Olifantsfontein.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on PrimeMediaPlus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 7:02. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the PrimeMediaPlus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
Municipal services are vital to keeping the city safe, clean and functional. By paying for municipal services such as your water bill, you're investing in Johannesburg's water supply. Paying for your services, it is not just a transaction. It's a commitment to your community's sustainability. Help pave the way for a brighter tomorrow, one payment at a time. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
Imagine if you could save time like you save money. A second here, a minute there. Type a little faster, walk a little faster, or you could stop scrolling on the internet. Just think of all the hours you'll save. Now, what if you could take all that time and invest it? Watch it grow. Until eventually, one day, you'd have so much time that you wouldn't know what to do with it all. But unfortunately, time doesn't work like that. It can't be stored or banked. And unlike money, you can't make it back. That's why after 50 years of investing, we've learned that time is the greatest gift of all. And the good news is, if you invest early, time gives you money. And then money gives you more time to do whatever you want to do, even if it is scrolling on the internet. Ellen Gray, long-term investing. Ellen Gray is an authorized FSP.
Know a little about a lot, from headlines to horsepower, parenting to pop culture. If you stay switched on with News 24, it's time to cash in. Play the Raise Your Game quiz every day this week from 1 p.m. on 702 afternoons with Relebogile Mabotja. Answer 3 questions, stack your winnings, and walk away with up to 5,000 Rand cash. Thanks to News 24. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. The Raise Your Game quiz with News 24. Only on 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
Coming up on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
So 702 Drive is coming up in just a bit at 3 o'clock. It is 14:36. That is what? 24 minutes before 3. Dr. John is in studio. He joins us now. Thank you so much, Dr. John. What can we expect on your show?
Yeah, very good afternoon to you, Khumotso. Good afternoon to all the listeners. So big news out of the DA. John Steenhuisen will not be seeking re-election as leader of the party. What's going on and what might happen next? Tony Leon joins us. Obviously the former leader of the Democratic Alliance, for his thoughts at 10 minutes past 5. But Langa Commission has been really, really interesting today and very, very complicated as well. Yeah. But there's a whole series of WhatsApps that appear to draw a connection between suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibia on the one hand and Vusimuzi Katmatlala on the other. Oren Singh keeping an eye on that. He's with us a little bit later. Huge problems for residents of Midrand. We'll talk to Joburg Water about what's going on at 10 minutes past 4. And then it was 30 years ago on this day that South Africa won the African Cup of Nations.
Oh.
We're going to be talking to a member of that winning team after 5 o'clock, but we're hoping people will share their memories and favorite stories from a day that I can still remember well.
We were hoping we'd win again this year, Dr. John. Not so lucky.
Well, we already had it this year and we didn't win. So,
yes, that's what I'm saying, that we were
so
not so lucky.
You mean next time round?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Yeah, and there's the World Cup, of course, which is something to hugely look forward to.
Absolutely. All right, that's on 702 Drive with Dr. John this afternoon, so please tune in. That is from 3 to 6 p.m.
702.
The car feature.
It's time for the car feature, and we have our technical expert, Nicole Lowe, on the line. Nicole, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Jose. Yeah, all good. And yourself?
Very, very good. Thank you. I want to start our conversation this afternoon on air cons. The air cons in our vehicles. How does that work? The car feature on 702 is brought to you by Mechanic and Motorite, bringing South Africa's trusted mobile mechanics to you. And the conversation now is around air conditioning. You know, Nicole, it's always so interesting for me. I've been having issues with the aircon in my car. And I've found out that when your aircon runs out, it's actually because of a leak. Is that true?
Yeah, we can quickly discuss the operation of the aircon. It's now summertime. We all love our aircons. I mean, if the vehicle is parked in the sun, you get to the vehicle, it can be 50, 60 degrees in the cabin. And I think we're very fortunate these days. Even your entry-level cars now come with aircon. But yeah, let's just quickly discuss the operation of the aircon, and then we can also do a bit of troubleshooting. And if we've got time left, there's always the question, should you drive with your windows open to save fuel, or do you have to have the window closed and the aircon on? We can discuss that as well if there's time. So first of all, aircon operation. It's actually a closed system. So you talked about leaks. I'm sure there's many people that heard about your aircon gas has escaped. Your gas is gone, and that's why it's not working. So it's a closed system. I'll quickly try and explain it. It's obviously better if you look at a diagram, if you Google it quickly. But how it works is there's an aircon gas, which is the working fluid, which is in a closed system. And then you've got a compressor in the vehicle. That's the main component of the aircon system. Is the compressor is normally driven by auxiliary belt by the engine. If it's not an internal combustion engine, it's electric vehicle, it can be driven by electric motor as well. And what it does is it compresses the air. Now we know if you compress air like on a bicycle pump or so, it heats up dramatically. That's the idea. So it compresses the gas, it heats it up, then it takes it through a radiator that dispels the excess heat to the atmosphere. So this is not in your car, in a cabin, that is outside. Then that gas actually gets condensed into a fluid. That fluid then goes to the evaporator, and remember the excess heat is now gone, it's actually cool, and they allow it to evaporate back into a gas. Now when that happens, it cools down dramatically. Then it goes through another radiator set, and that's then the radiator that's actually cooled, and that sits in the airstream that comes from the outside and then into your cabin. So the airstream that goes through this radiator gets cooled down, and that's the ice-cold air that you feel that's so nice on a hot sunny day. So once the gas has gone through that radiator, it will then complete the process by entering the compressor again to be compressed and heat up. So that's the closed system that we talk about. Now, we must remember the aircon system is a bit complex. It's got pressure sensors in there. There's got evaporators. It's got, as I say, the radiator systems and so on. What we must also remember is that gas is the working fluid, but it's also got a bit of oil in that gas to lubricate all the moving components. So if you're in a car, and the best way to test the aircon is obviously when it's been running for a while and the aircon is on, turn your hand around and put it in front of the vent. Your back of your hand is actually quite sensitive to feeling cold air. If you don't feel cold air, it's not working. If your hand is not getting cold after a couple of, let's call it 2 minutes of running, then there's definitely something wrong. Now, the worst thing you can do is keep that aircon running, because we know now maybe that gas has escaped, there's a leak. But then there's also no lubrication, because if the gas has gone out, also the oil, and now you keep running that lukewarm aircon all the time, and eventually the compressor will seize up. And to replace a compressor in a vehicle, the aircon compressor can be anything between 5,000 rands to 30,000 rands for the expensive vehicle. So yeah, not a good idea to keep running your aircon if you know something is wrong and it's not cooling down the air. And that brings me actually to aircon servicing.
Yes.
We all know that servicing of your vehicle is very important, the engine and all of that, the oil and oil filters and air filters and so on. But your aircon system has also got components that need to be serviced. So there's obviously your pollen filters and things that's on the airstream that goes in. But the system itself, if you take it for a service, they will actually extract the gas. They will check for leaks. They will obviously then put the gas back to the right specifications and pressure. They'll also add the lubricating oil to the system to make sure it's fine. They'll clean all the pipes. And they will also actually clean all the ducting that runs into the vehicle. We all know if you leave an aircon system too long and the car's been standing, it can actually start developing a smell as well, which is not great. And that's actually fungus growth that needs to be taken care of.
Yes.
So once a year, it's not a bad idea. If you live in a hot climate, and we all do, mostly in South Africa, it's a good idea to get your aircon service. It will cost you probably between 600 rands and 1,000 rands, but then you know your aircon is ready for the whole summer season. So that's just a quick word on aircon and how to take care of it.
And what's a reasonable period, to have your aircon working until it gives you problems? Because sometimes you have people, they've got a car and, after a year or two, the aircon's gone out. Is that reasonable? Or, should it last for about 2, 3, 4 years?
What I can say is a good idea is to use your aircon at least once a week, even in the winter time. I mean, aircon is actually quite good for demisting as well, because it takes the moisture out of the air. But even in winter time, just run it once a week, because it's got a lot of seals in that closed system that needs lubrication. It needs that working fluid to go around the closed system. And if you leave it and you never use it, and then when you want to use it, you'll probably find that, oh no, it sprung a leak somewhere or something's gone wrong. So it's a good idea to operate the aircon at least once a week. And as I say, if you want to make sure the aircon is working perfectly fine, you feel that ice cold air on the back of your fingers, and if it's not there, get it serviced before you get a serious failure, like for example the aircon compressor, because that's an expensive unit.
All right, we are speaking all things car, really. It's the car feature, and my guest is Nicol Lowe. He's a technical expert. We're taking your questions on your aircon. Do you have any questions around that, the servicing of your aircon and how it actually works? But also, if you've got any other technical questions about your car, Nicol is on the line and ready to take those. And we'll take your calls and your WhatsApps right after this.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays
12 to 1.
It's Stephen from Durban. I don't think this was voluntary. I think John Steenhuisen has basically been told to step down. That's my personal opinion, because obviously there's been a lot of going on with him and infighting within the party. So maybe it's that.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly reasonable view. Just to remind you, of course, John Steenhuisen's tweet says at 10 a.m., I'll make an announcement of national importance. Until you see me outlining the full set of facts, void speculation.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
If you're still thinking about one more trip before the calendar fills up, this year, this is your sign. Fly Lift from Johannesburg to Cape Town from just 1,190 Rand. Complimentary snacks, drinks, and the kind of flexibility that makes travel feel easy. So whether it's a quick reset, a weekend away, or a last summer escape, catch a lift. Book now at lift.co.za. That's from 1,190 Rand. T's and C's apply.
Hollywood Bets introduces the Soccer Punters Challenge Weekday Edition, a new platform dedicated to the beautiful game. You stand a chance to score a share of the 1 million Rand daily jackpot. Bet 5 Rand or more on selected EPL, PSL and UEFA Champions League clashes during the week and correctly predict 8 out of 8 winning margins. You could also win the free daily leaderboard prize, where a share of 25,000 Rand is up for grabs. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Driver on the road or driver on the golfing green? Auto & General covers the world's best drivers. Auto & General, the official regional insurance partner of Live Golf South Africa 2026, and 702 are putting your driver knowledge to the test for your chance to win a share of 100,000 Rand. Up to the challenge? WhatsApp 072 702 1702 with the keyword Auto & General and follow the prompts. Every day this week, 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa could call you back to play. Thanks to Auto & General on 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. 702.
The car feature.
It's the car feature on 702 afternoons. My name is Khomotso Mudisi. I'm in for Relebogile this afternoon. And my guest is Nicol Lowe. He's a technical expert taking all your car questions. I do see on the line we've got Keith in Athol. You want to have a question about a sticky valve. Good afternoon. Go ahead.
Hi.
Oh, okay. Keith. Yep,
can
go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Nicole, I get a intermittent a problem on one of the cylinders firing on the car. I've checked the electrics out. I've actually replaced the rotor on the distributor and the distributor cap and the ignition coil. And I think it could be a sticky valve. My question to you is, because it's intermittent, using an additive like a carburetor and valve cleaner, I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Can you tell us which model vehicle, what engine are we talking about? Carburetor is probably still an old vehicle, eh?
Yeah, it is. It's a 93 model Corolla. And it is carburetor.
Carburetor, okay. A misfire is always a tricky one to find. I have got a feeling it might not be a sticky valve. We get a lot of, especially of the direct injection engines, you get a lot of deposits on the valves, but that's because the fuel is not running past the valves into the combustion chamber. It's actually injected directly in the combustion chamber. We all know that the fuel has got a detergent sort of properties that will take care of deposits. So it's more a direct injection engine problem than it is a carburetor. Carburetor used to have actually very nice clean inlets to the engine itself, and it will also actually clean the valves pretty nicely because the fuel is going past the intake valves. So I've got a feeling that the additive will probably not cure that situation. I would start, obviously you need fuel and air and timing at the spark at the right timing to get your combustion per cylinder. So I don't know the mileage of the vehicle. Those Corollas can do very high mileage. I've seen some of them like over 500,000 k's, no issue. So I would probably start with just checking for compression check on all the cylinders and compare them to each other as well. If you see one cylinder is particularly low, that might point to something wrong in that cylinder, and that can be from a broken ring to maybe a valve that's got a problem with it or so on. But if the compression on all the cylinders are fine, and the fuel is a carburetor that probably distributes the fuel evenly to all the cylinders, you expect almost all of them to be misfiring at the same time, not the one. You can isolate which one. It sounds to me more electronic, more maybe a spark plug lead or something like that can cause the misfire. I'm thinking aloud, but that's what my think train is at this stage.
Okay, if I can butt in there, sorry. On the one cylinder, the one I'm talking about, the compression is slightly lower than the other three. Okay, it's a 4-cylinder engine.
Yes. So I would rather.
I've checked the electrics, I've checked the leads, and as I said, I've changed distributor cap, rotor, ignition coil, etc.
Yes. What you can also try and do is, if you can get hold of a bore scope that allows you to look inside the combustion chamber. So they've got they actually became very cheap now, but there's a lot of these technical places that's got a bore scope, which is basically a camera. You drop a camera, a little small camera, is actually optic fiber that you drop into the hole where the spark plug comes out, and you can look around in the combustion chamber. Just look at those valves, because have you done that?
I've tried that, and I can see no difference between the four cylinders.
Mm.
Yeah.
If the compression is low, that's a telltale sign something is wrong.
Maybe
it's worthwhile. Maybe it's worthwhile taking the head off and just investigating that, because a low compression on that cylinder will definitely give you a misfire.
So if you're taking the head off, we're looking at what, rings and perhaps valves? Is that what you're saying?
No, first of all, I will just take the head off and inspect the valve train. Maybe you will spot something that you couldn't see with a bore scope. Maybe one of the valves got damaged, and that is why it's not sealing properly.
And that would need to be then replaced, obviously, that valve.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your help.
Hope that was helpful, Keith.
Very, very helpful. Thank you. Very helpful.
Thank you for your call. That's Keith in Athol. Let's go to Zilla in Johannesburg. You've got a question about your aircon. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm wanting to know, I haven't had gas in my aircon. Do I have to have it serviced before I put in gas? Or what should I do? Can I just put in the gas, or must it be serviced? I heard you saying something about that it can get a bit, you should have it or something, a service of the aircon.
Yes. Okay. Let's get Nicole to answer.
It is recommended to have your aircon serviced. While the aircon places will tell you once a year, maybe once every second year, if your aircon is working fine, it's probably okay. The problem is when you regas, they call it regas, or your gas has escaped and they need to regas that closed system. They actually need to service the system to check for any other issues, because obviously the gas leaked out, so there must be a leak somewhere. It's either a seal that's gone or something has gone wrong. So you don't expect some of these guys next to the road under the tree, they'll maybe just top up the gas, which will work for some time, but then it will fail again. But if you take it for a proper aircon service, they'll look at the entire system, and then I can see where the problem is. So the decent aircon places will do the service with the regassing as standard.
Okay, so don't take it to the guy under the tree.
No.
No, definitely not under the guy.
All right, Zilla.
Definitely not. But I was just going to put gas in, but the guy did say to me where I went that for a service we charge so much, for the gas we charge so much. Okay.
All right.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for your call, Zilla.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. That's Zilla in Johannesburg there. Hopefully that helps. Yes, I suppose also it's difficult, Nicole, sometimes to find the right places to get this done. And like many things, cheaper isn't always better.
No, definitely not. The last thing I want to finish off, I see how we're running out of time, but that question, should you have your windows open or should you have your aircon running?
Yes.
I had an interesting question of a guy in an Uber. I think it was one of the cheap Uber goes, and he reached out for the aircon and he got a slap on the hand. And the guy saying, no, you're going to use too much fuel now. So I've done the calculations, and what it depends out, it all depends obviously on your vehicle size, shape, and aerodynamics and all of that. But the changeover point of aircon versus open windows is around 80 to 100 kilometers per hour. If you drive below 80 kilometers per hour, windows open will save you more fuel than running the aircon. Aircon is normally between 1 and 3 kilowatts. But when you go over 80, say, if you're on the motorways, then your aircon will actually save you fuel because your aerodynamic drag with open windows is more than that 1 kilowatt than if you just run the aircon. So that's a rule of thumb, motorways driving. But also remember your comfort levels with windows open. I don't even want to talk about crime.
Yes.
Is not so great with windows open. The aircon is just designed to give you that comfort that you really need on a hot day.
Yes. Yep. So it's aircon when you are driving in the inroads and or windows open on the inroads, aircon on the highway, right?
Yeah, that's if you really want to save the last drop of fuel, that is the way to go.
All right, let's take the last call from Diane and Santon. Your aircon is making a noise. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if I put it on low, then it's fine. It's nice and cold. But as soon as I turn my aircon up higher, it starts to make like this weird noise, and I don't know why.
Is that the noise that I can hear now? I can hear like a wing. Is that it? Or am I imagining that?
Well, I am in my car. I've got the aircon on. It does have like a funny noise, but it seems like when I'm driving and got the aircon on at the same time, it seems to be worse.
Okay, Nicole?
Yeah, obviously it's difficult to tell without knowing where the noise is coming from or what type of noise. What I can imagine, if you're sitting in the cabin, one of the noises can be the blower unit itself. It's actually the fan that sits in the dash that provides the airflow. So maybe at low speeds it's fine, but at higher speed maybe there's a bearing or something going. I don't think you'll be able to hear while driving, for example, a compressor bearing that is going under the bonnet. I think there's too much other noises out there. Best is to take it for an aircon service, and they should be able to tell you what is causing that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, Diane, thank you so much for your call. And the last question, Nicole, someone saying, my aircon doesn't blow any air out unless you're blasting it on full strength. And he drives a Merc A180.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Normally with a manual aircon, you've got the settings of 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's called a rheostat. So it actually limits the voltage to the blower itself, and that gives you your different blower speeds. But you will find that the last setting, the high-speed one, is a direct link to 12 volts or in a vehicle. The other works through the rheostat. So when that switch goes, you will still have your off position. You will have your maximum speed, but not the in-between. That's just a little switch inside the dash that's linked to that little toggle switch that needs to be replaced.
All right, let's leave it there. That's Nicole Loa, a technical expert. Thank you so much for your time. He's been helping us make sense of all things car this afternoon. Car servicing and repairs don't need to be complicated or stressful. MyCanic, powered by Motorite, delivers reliable car repairs and service with expert mobile mechanics who come to your home or office, wherever your car's parked, with seamless online booking, clear upfront pricing, and tested professional mechanics. You know exactly what to expect before the work begins. MyCanic, trusted car service and repair. Done right the first time. Find out more on mycanic.co.za.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And
It's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct to give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Water is a scarce resource. That dripping tap, that overwatered lawn, it all adds up. Johannesburg Water urges you to fix on property leaks, reuse grey water, and reduce unnecessary use. They're intensifying leak repairs and upgrading infrastructure to reduce losses. By working together and changing daily habits, water resources can be safeguarded and supplies secured for future generations. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water and sanitation utility that cares. All right, our time has run out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Relebogile Mabotja back on 702 afternoons tomorrow. From me, though, it's goodbye.
This is EWN.
Madlanga Commission told of alleged arms deal between Gauteng cop and Mabuza relative and phased water restoration underway in Midrand. Good afternoon, I'm Maiki Malapo. The Madlanga Commission has heard of a possible arms deal between Gauteng cop and an alleged relative of the late former Deputy President,